And they did the damage in that first half, and we'll have a look at it again because that first goal, beautifully finished from Marcus Rashford. Have you seen a better, well-worked free kick so far this season?
Well, I think it's just come down to coaching, you know, X's and O's, and I think sometimes we've seen a lot of great set plays, I think, this season, Tottenham in particular. But this one from Man United is fantastic there. You know, we've got Marcus Rashford highlighted at the top there, Eriksen going to take the corner. But Bruno Fernandes is the one that's going to walk over into the shot and just have a little chat with Christian Eriksen there. And initially think he's going to come over for the short corner, but actually he decides to make his way into the box, and he just tells Christian Eriksen, just wait there. You know, he's obviously going to go over into the area where all the players are, and obviously this is a well-worked one. You know, they're trying to set up a little block, Glenn, aren't they, right, to free Marcus Rashford, work that space.
It's worked an absolute treat. I mean, it's one thing, mate, going on the training ground and setting these things up, but to get the timing right and to create the space like they do, and for it to come off, the finish has to be there. Varane goes first, you've got Martial blocking. Varane, I think, makes that little initial run as if he's going to be the one they're going to play it to, but Rashford comes back towards his own goal to make the space. Look there, and he comes in free as a bird. And what a lovely finish. Doesn't try and hit it too hard, just strokes the ball, and it's a wonderfully executed goal.
How much work on the training ground will go into putting a move into practice in the play?
Yeah, a lot, it would do. And it's about putting it in. You see, I've seen one that Chelsea did a similar one today. But the first man let it go through his legs, and the second one came on in the door. I can't remember who it was, and he skied it over the bar. So for it to come off, you get all these free kicks you put in together, and when they come off, as a coach and your staff and the players, you could see how they celebrated. It was like a real collective. It brings the team really close together, and the staff, because you've worked at something, you know, on the training ground, a set play. There's nothing like it when it comes off.
But a lot of it is also personnel. You know, you can do that with a Christian Eriksen because he passes the ball with so much care. A lot of people would, because that's quite a long way to pass that ball, a lot of people would hit that too hard and it'd bobble and it'd bounce. But because he hits it on the deck, it enables Marcus to make such an easy contact. Often you see that ball, don't you, Glenn? It bobbles in, but Christian is such a great passer of the ball.
I think with set plays nowadays, with pitches like this here, the surface is beautiful. You know, that on a bobbly pitch in the winter was tough on a poor pitch, but that can be done. A lot of teams that you've seen them do it. I mean, a lot of teams do that one where they shift, make the space, but it was lovely the way the balls come in there. But his execution was magnificent.
OK, we can talk to the Manchester United captain now, who was very much part of that free kick as well. Bruno Fernandes waiting to talk to us live from Old Trafford. Bruno, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. How good does that feel, back with 3 points and 3 goals?
Hello to everyone. Obviously, it's really good. Come back to Old Trafford for the Premier League and win against a tough opponent. I think performance overall was really good. The result obviously was fantastic.
Now, we were just discussing that brilliantly worked free kick. Have you worked an awful lot as a team on that routine?
What free kick? The corner, you mean?
Sorry, the corner, yeah.
Yeah, we work it in a different way, but obviously because they came to defend with 2v2 on the corner, I went away. I was supposed to be there. The corner was supposed to be in the same way, but was no space, so I just make the run into the box to block the man from Rashi.
And what about the execution of it as well?
Obviously fantastic. We all know that we have players on that have the capability to do the pass as Christian did, and obviously Marcus can finish. We know that he can score many goals. So I think was perfect work for him because he has the confidence, he has the shoot, he has the ability to do it, and everyone knew it. If he had the chance, he will score.
Hi Bruno, it's Owen Hargreaves speaking. The one thing I wanted to ask you about was Marcus, that finish he had, he actually didn't try and smash her, didn't hit it with power, did he? Often you see Marcus, he wants to strike the ball so hard. He just gets it on target. And when he seems to finish like that, it almost seems like it's always in the back of the net.
Yeah, but Marcus has a natural strength, so he doesn't need to hit the ball so hard. He knows that, but sometimes, obviously, if he hit it harder, is also difficult for the keeper. But I think we trained it yesterday, and he understood that was just a little flick on the ball, a little touch, and he could have a chance to score.
Bruno, it's Glenn Hoddle here. Just want to ask you a question about the midfield. Do you feel now with Eriksen and Casemiro and yourself that balance looks different to me? It looks so balanced, and you've got every angle, every sort of style of play covered.
Oh, I think it's a little bit unfair to the others one that are not playing at this moment, because then they can have a good part in this team. Donny came on, did really well. Fred get his goal. Scotty today was not here because he was ill. But I think these three that mainly have been played, they have such good qualities that can help the team. Obviously, different qualities than us three that start play today. But obviously, I think everyone is an amazing player that can have a big, good part to help the team.
And overall today, you've got the 3 goals, particularly Fred's one to put the icing on the cake. You've threatened that in many games this season, but you've done it comfortably again tonight.
I think we could have done a little bit more comfortably because we had the chances. Probably the shot or the last pass or something was not on point, but obviously 3 goals, 3-0, it's a perfect result.
And just finally, Bruno, the games are coming thick and fast now. You've gone within a point of the top 4, game in hand on Tottenham. Can this continue the momentum after the break?
No, we have to focus game by game. We know how tough is the Premier League. We have to go away to Wolverhampton. That we know that they have a good team. I know them very well. They probably speak more Portuguese than our national team. So it's always a tough game against them there. Good qualities. New coach, so we all know that whenever a new coach comes in, is confidence. They won in the last minute, so they will be on fire. But I think this result can help us to have more confidence and understand if we do what we have to do, we can win games.
Very well played tonight. Thanks very much indeed again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Bruno Fernandes, the Manchester United captain, live for you at Old Trafford. United, of course, in January have to play both Manchester City and Arsenal. Well, let's get back to tonight. Rashford, we know the goalkeeper should have done better for 2-0, but Rashford had a big part to play in Martial's goal.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was going to ask, if we had a bit more time, I was going to ask Bruno about exactly this. The fact that, this ball here over the top is exactly what, these guys can play that ball. Marcus and Anthony Martial, they just need to be in these positions and get on the end of these things, because with Casemiro initially winning the ball, but he's the one, he can play that pass. Christian Eriksen can play that pass. Bruno Fernandes, but it shows also what a leader he is. He didn't want to throw any, McTominay or Fred under the bus there. The fact, this is their midfield 3, and this is the reason why they might be a top 4 side. But if those midfield 3 can create and play the balls, Marcus today and Anthony Martial were brilliant at just staying high and making forward runs. These top players will get you the ball, and that summed it up on that goal from Anthony Martial.
Yeah, you give these, particularly those 3, you give them time and space on the ball to look up and play forward. As I said earlier, they need pitches, and Rashford there, Marcus Rashford, he knew Aurier was out of position for a split second, bang, he was gone, and the ball's delivered on his toe. The rest he has to do himself, and he did it brilliantly, laid in the lovely pass, waiter pass, so that Martial could take it first time. And I think that's what caught the goalkeeper out. Hennessy his body weight was going one way, but he's took it early because the ball was nicely played. And I think they've got that as a real major asset. I think there's going to be games when that could come in to play much more for United, when they're playing against better teams and they can hit teams on the break. If they have to suffer a little bit with possession against them, and they've got that asset, and they've got also, if they control a game, they've got possession people, what I call possession of the ball, the midfield 3, they know how to cope with that ball. And Casemiro really has changed that midfield.
He was flawless today, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's changed that completely for me. He reads the game so well. We were saying, he hardly has to run. He just picks off the right positions, gets the ball, and then defensively, he just picks up cute little positions, covers people. If fullbacks go, he's the next one that comes across and just cuts things out. So a terrific asset to the team. A lot of money for his age. What was it, 70 million? But you can see what he's doing on the pitch for them.
And one of our friends in the studio, who's a United fan on cameras, thinks it's Owen Hargreaves was the last player that United had like that, Glenn. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, he's obviously seen United more than I have over the years, but yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Owen was a similar player, could do the the defensive work and astuteness of that, but use the ball intelligently. And that's what Casemiro does.
That's why they're highest paid players, in the team.
I think he's making a few more quid than I did, I think, Casemiro. But you know what I like about Casemiro? He does his job, first of all, defensively, but he always looks forward to pass the ball. And the thing is, he got played a couple balls today. There were terrible passes into him, but he's always available, and he always has a solution. And that's the biggest difference now with Casemiro there, and then you got Eriksen, and you got Bruno. You got three that you can play them the ball at any time. No criticism of McTominay or Fred, but this three, they provide a different capacity to pass the ball forward. They can control games better. You think about United before, it was always on the counter-attack, and they didn't really control games. Now you can see they can control games.
I think that midfield, I think the back four, whoever it is for United, are quite happy to have them playing in front of them. And I think the front unit are very happy to have that midfield playing that they know they can pick passes, they can put things on a plate if needs be. So both units now are linked with this nice balance. That's the question I asked Bruno, really. And he, as you rightly said, he was going to go about the squad. Of course he was. But for me, it looks like a perfectly balanced midfield now. They've sorted it out. Whereas maybe when Pogba was there, they never quite, fabulous player, but they never quite sorted the balance. You need a good balance in midfield. Have a good balance in midfield, you normally have a good team. That's where I think Liverpool were fantastic over the last few seasons. Maybe not quite as much. You might see them go in the market to get that central midfield sorted out. When they do again, they're going to be back to their best. So I think it's so important, and I think those back players will go, oh, I'm quite happy with this midfield. They'll work hard defensively, and the attackers are saying, oh, yeah, just make runs, the ball's on a plate.
Casemiro made the most tackles on the pitch tonight. I know Emmanuel Dennis didn't cover himself in glory on a number of occasions, particularly for the third goal, but that reading of the game that you're talking about was evident here.
Well, he knows this is coming because Dennis played 10 minutes before this, exactly the same, led to a counter-attack and almost scored. And Casemiro, it's not so much about tackling. You know, I think poor players tackle, they go to ground too much. Casemiro, he reads that and he anticipates where the ball's going to be, and then the weight to the pass for Fred is perfect. So I love the fact, this is what a top defensive midfield player should do. Yeah. Read the game, play the ball, get in the right position, and then pass it into Fred. I love that goal. That's exactly why you sign him.
And that comes with experience. When he was a young kid at 18, 19 playing, he wouldn't have seen that. He's on his bike.
Five Champions Leagues later, he will.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. He's looking at Dennis, and he knows exactly where the lad's going to play it. And he's actually on his bike. He knew he was going to play it before Dennis knew he was going to play it. He's actually on his bike going forward to cut it out. And as the ball's played, bang, he nips in, and then he just sets it up beautifully.
You make a good point about, you know, it's not a coincidence guys like that win 5 Champions Leagues. I know he's playing at a good side with Modric and Kroos. But if you have a guy like Casemiro who probably wins, I'd say, on average, say 5, 10, you know, interceptions like that a game, that means you're going to get, you know, Bruno Fernandes or Christian Eriksen or Marcus 5 or 10 extra reps in terms of creating goal-scoring opportunities. And that's exactly what a top player like that gives you. He gets the ball to the guys that go and win you the game. And he'll do it 5 or 10 times more. So if you give these guys, like Kevin De Bruyne, 5 or 10 extra reps, or Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, those guys will hurt you. And that's why Casemiro, every team needs a guy like that to go and win Champions League trophies, because turnover of possessions and transitions are one of the most important parts of top football. We saw it at the World Cup. The teams that won were almost all on the counter-attack. And Casemiro does that as good as anyone.
And the key to it as well, Owen, is that when you actually anticipate and you read it and you nick the ball off them, particularly in the middle third, like he did, your opponent, you're open. You've got possession 1 second. You're trying to get into attacking positions, like fullbacks on the other side of the pitch are charging forward because they think they're in possession. Suddenly the ball's nicked, and that's why Fred had so much time and space to finish. It's a good finish, by the way. But as you're playing it in, the right back for Forest was way up the pitch because he's thinking it's safe. Suddenly Casemiro reads it, bang, and they're in and they're penetrating right in behind you. So it's a wonderful thing that gives you that space and time for those attacking players because the other team are thinking they're in possession. Suddenly they're not. And the handover, forward pass, you normally get in.
Bruno was obviously quite right in terms of the high standards. He felt it should have been more comfortable. As you've said, some of the chances against better opposition that they didn't finish, they might have paid for. They didn't tonight, but it could have easily been more.
Well, it probably should have. Again, Marcus Rashford, that, you know, the run and the weight to the pass, Anthony's got to score. You know, he's just got to score. Whether he comes to the near post and gives him the eyes, or he just needs to hit that a little bit higher over Hennessy. But to be fair, he was probably the only one of the front three that didn't probably play you like Marcus and Martial, but the thing is, Garnacho came on. I thought he was magnificent. You know, he's really positive. But the chances that they had, you're right. You know, it should have been more than 3, and that's probably why one of the lowest scoring teams in the top half, because they're not taking these chances.
All these examples are about players running off the ball, going in behind defenders. They're not standing for the ball into their feet. Every single one of these examples, and there was more, where they're looking, they've got good possession, but they're looking to go in, make little blind runs and runs in behind the defence. And tonight, the ball was laid on a plate, and that's why, really, they could have won probably 5 or 6 if they'd have taken the chances. But I haven't seen United as much look to go in behind a team when they've got good possession.
It's easier said than done, but Erik ten Hag has admitted, after the departure of Ronaldo, they do need some form of reinforcement in that position in January, whether it's a temporary one or a permanent one. We're looking at reports of Gakpo going to Liverpool and not Manchester United. How easy is it to find somebody who can finish some of those chances in this month ahead?
Are you going to find anybody better than Anthony Martial or Marcus Rashford?
You're asking questions again.
Sorry. It's a couple hours later. I forgot I shouldn't ask questions.
You can answer your own.
No, but I understand. I think they need a body, and Gakpo would have been perfect. But the problem is, he obviously looks like he's going to go to Liverpool. I think United need a body. Losing if Cristiano leaves, and obviously the wages gone, there's money there to invest. So I'd love to see somebody come in, whether it's a permanent one or on loan. When you get a loan one, they're not often of that level. But if you could get a João Felix on loan with the option to buy, you know, I would definitely do that. But the way Marcus played today and Anthony Martial played today, Garnacho when he came on, you know, there's a lot of positives as well. Jadon Sancho, you know, not sure what's going on there with his fitness. That's a big surprise and a big worry. The fact that he's in a training camp on his own because he's obviously not in shape. So they need to get him back. But if you think about the midfield 3 that Glenn mentioned, and then the attackers, there's a lot of firepower there. So I think there's more than enough goals on the side, but if they can get a big hitter like João Felix, then I think you got to go and do that.
Yeah, he's a good footballer, whether it's that type of player they need, I think they've got enough of them type of players, quite honest, myself. But it's difficult in January, as we say. But it's doubly difficult to get strikers who's going to put the ball in the back of the net.
But that's only the 3rd time this season they've scored 3 goals in a league game.
Exactly, and I think that might be that if they don't get in the top 4 or they don't win a trophy, that might be the reason. That might be the reason that they're not clinical enough.
That's the 3rd time they've scored 3 goals this season. City have done it 8 times. Arsenal have done it 7 times. Is that the reason why there's a gap? Because, as you say, there's no problem at the moment defensively.
No, and it's 3, but it probably should have been 6. And you know, that's a foresight with the utmost respect. You know, they conceded 6 against Man City. Was it? They conceded 5. Was it? Arsenal?
5 at Arsenal.
Arsenal. I think 4 against Leicester. So it's a side that, even though they've tidied up defensively a little bit, they still concede often in big numbers. And United should have done that today. They should have scored 5 or 6. So that's the reason why they're not a little bit higher up the table. But I do like the fact that they were creating the chances. And I think Erik ten Hag said to these guys, stop coming to the ball. Stop getting the ball to feet all the time. Stay high. Trust the midfield 3 to do their job. These guys will get you the ball. And I think they've worked on that. Glenn made a great point. The guys are making forward runs. With forward runs and forward passing, I don't care how good defence is, you can open it up.
No problems defensively, but tonight they had the virus sweeping the camp. They had Maguire only coming out at the end, no Lindelof. Martinez, of course, is still celebrating the World Cup. So Luke Shaw played as a centre-back for the first time in 2.5 years in the Premier League. What did you think?
I thought he was excellent, you know. I mean, he was, as I said before the game...
He wasn't tested.
He wasn't tested as much as maybe against some other opponents, but that's a great example of him stepping... I always felt that he could play in left side of a 3, but tonight he's played as the second, you know, centre-back, if you like. His use of the ball was fantastic. It really was. Back there, he gets that extra little time and space, and that's what happens when you put a full-back in or a midfield player goes back in there. That extra little bit of time and space, and if you're a good user of the ball, you can hurt your opposition. But defensively, he did everything right. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I think he made one misplaced pass. Look at that for a pass. That is absolutely fantastic, turning defence into attack with one pass. He was brilliant tonight, he really was. And it might give the manager some food for thought. Look, he read the situation there. Brilliant defending.
He had like Franz Beckenbauer, didn't he? He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I thought
he had the most touches of the football in the whole game.
But the thing is, as well, I thought he looked so comfortable, you know, to actually, you know, in terms of his passing of the ball from there. I mean, Glenn made a great point. We've seen him play left of a 3 and look great. But today, in a back four with two central, it's a completely different job. But I thought he looked amazing. And you think about with Sandro Martinez, who's been fantastic. Varane, Maguire's got his confidence back. Luke Shaw, you know, Wan-Bissaka played. You know, we're going to have Darlow back. So Malacia looked good today. So I think you know, you can be quietly confident that the next few months are going to be a good few months for Manchester United.
They're progressive side. They're progressing from where they were over the last few seasons. You can see the manager has put his template in there. They've got the foundation there. They've got the players. They've got some excellent players. Let's be fair. The talent they've got in that squad. It was about gelling them together. And I think now they look like a team. They look like good individuals, but are going to play as a team. And that's what you want.
OK, well, we hope to hear from Erik ten Hag.
Your biggest Premier League win of the season. Your thoughts on your side's performance?
I think we played well. It was a good performance, a good team performance. We scored great goals. We scored 3 goals. I'm happy with that. We conceded no goals, so clean sheet. So I'm happy with that as well, because I think it's always the base to winning games. And of course, we can be critical. We created many more chances. We could have scored even more goals. So that's the next step we have to make.
Is that something you said to your side? Because 3-0, very convincing, but for you, it should have been more goals?
Definitely. We had some great attacks with a lot of movement and the right timing from passing the ball behind. Then when you have one-on-ones with the keeper, you have to score more goals.
If you need a spark, it looks as though Marcus Rashford is the man to provide that really important first goal to get you up and running this evening from him.
Yeah, but it can't not only come from Marcus Rashford, but I'm really happy with his performance once again. He's in a really good pattern, so keep the process going. If he keeps in this focus and with this spirit, I'm sure he will keep going, and that's good for us and it's good for him.
And for Anthony Martial as well, you've spoken about needing to bring in more goals in your side. Is that a challenge to your current forwards to go out and get more goals to keep any newcomers out of the team?
No, we want players in, but those front four, they didn't play that often together in the first part of the season. I think maybe only two games they played together. So if we can bring them more often together on the pitch, I'm sure there will be better progress in, and the routines will come in, and then they will be even more a threat and they will even score more goals.
Luke Shaw, I'm not sure if he started a game at professional level as centre-half. Was that an easy decision for you to put him into that position?
Yeah, it was quite an easy decision, because last week when we had that problem, he told me, manager, I can play there, put me in there. He did before, I think, in a back line with 3, but not in a back 4. But yeah, I think he played as he played there for several years. He was really experienced, how it looks, really composed, and I think a really good performance from him.
Long way to go, lots of games to be played, but now you're still in 5th, but just 1 point off that top 4. How good are you feeling and the team feeling heading into the new year about your league position?
Well, I'm not so looking at the league position in this moment. It's about where are you at the end of the season, and we have to improve the process. It's about that, and of course we have to win games because the competition is strong. We have to battle for that. We have to battle for winning every game, and that is the focus what we need. And the whole squad, and every individual player has to contribute on that process.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's worth remembering, we're not even halfway through, 15 games in, United a point off the top 4 with a game in hand. With all he's had to deal with in those 15 games as well, what have you made of United's progress so far?
I mean, if you think back to the start of the season, Brighton and Brentford, you could have never ever envisioned they'd be in this position. You know, you think back to those 2 games, those 2 performances, and then Liverpool coming off the back of that, beating Liverpool, beating Arsenal. And I think he just went back to basics. He said they had to compete, they had to fight, they had to show the fighting spirit for the shirt, you know, for the fans even, because it was just it lacked in so many in so many phases. But I love the fact now we're actually seeing the United team that we thought we'd see. The way his Ajax-side's played, controlling the game, the tempo. The only thing missing is the goals. And I do think that's going to come. But if I look at the whole team, there's so much to like about this United team. And I think you think about, you know, the Maguire decision, you know, not playing him, Martinez and Varane, and then the whole Ronaldo situation and all the other things. He's had a lot to deal with, and I think he deserves a ton of credit for making a lot of big calls. Not easy ones, by the way. And the team, Glenn makes a point, they're improving, you know, and that top 4 battle is going to be tough. But I think they can get there, and I think they can win a trophy this season, whatever it may be. I think they'll win something, but they're on the right path.
Do you like his style? Do you like the way he's going about things after what he inherited?
Without a doubt, I think it's been a tough club to come into anyway. I mean, look at the turmoil since Sir Alex Ferguson's gone, and I've never really seen a team play in a sense with a real foundation, a template. They're getting closer to that. They're getting closer where I think he might tinker with a few players coming in. He's got a spine of the team. Midfielders we've spoken about, I think it's growing, and I think he knows that. He's got the confidence. They've got 2 good... In a way, that at the moment, they've got 2 good fixtures, I think, on paper. On paper. Wolves is going to be a tough game because a new manager there and all that. But it's not a bad time to bounce off this. You know, I think they could get probably 4, maybe 4 points. They might get 6. So that would give them even more confidence to go in against the bigger teams. That's where they've got to prove themselves. Manchester United, over the years gone by, that was a given. But I think they're improving, they're getting confident. There's confidence in the team. And he said it there. He said the team played really well. They played as a team, and that's what we're talking about. There have been great individuals there at the club, but they haven't played as a team. Everyone working for each other, with the ball and without the ball. Today they had lots of possession, but there's going to be games when they're going to have to suffer, and I think they've got people that will dig in, and they might tinker with a few players in and put different midfield in at times. But you know what? I think he's onto something. I really do. If there is a racehorse, they're improving. They're improving all the time.
I was back to Casemiro because you said he's such an important part. But tonight, what impressed you so much about his control of the game in that area of the pitch that you know so well?
Nothing. That's exactly how he plays all the time. But the point is, the great players are consistent all the time. And that's what he is. He's so consistent. I haven't seen him have a bad game for Man United. Not one. And you think about, you know, some of the United fans, you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, Fred and McTominay always playing. But the fact of the matter is, every manager played them. Why? Because he thought they were the best for the job. But Casemiro, you could put him in there, and he can almost do the job of 2. And then you can have an Eriksen and a Bruno Fernandes, 2 attackers. But Casemiro, at the base of that midfield, he makes everybody better. I think Glenn made the point. The back 4 look more comfortable with Casemiro there. The attackers look more comfortable because he can play forward passes quicker. So I just think there's a reason this guy's won 5 Champions Leagues. You know, there's a reason he starts for Brazil. There's a reason Neymar said he's the best central midfield player in the world. Because the guy makes everybody else better. And that's kind of the job of that position. Today, he played like he always does. 8, 9 out of 10. And that is some level of consistency.
He's got great awareness on both sides of the game. He's got awareness when he's on the ball, and he's got great awareness defensively. You see him there covering for the left. The left back's gone forward, bang. He's actually he's in the left back position, cutting the cross out. Then the next minute he's nicking the ball in the attacking third to get the 3rd goal. He's then, you know, shielding the 2 centre backs. He screens them at times. Then he'll run back and nick a ball, you know, when they're and cut down a counter attack. He's brilliant at it. He's got every asset, and plus he's got that massive experience under his belt. He reads the game, he makes it look easy. And I'll tell you what he will do. Playing with him will just ooze confidence, and the confidence goes into the other players that you've got a real class player that's won a lot of things, plays for Brazil, does the same job there as Owen just said. But I think that is a real hub of that team. It's changed. That midfield has changed. I don't care what you say over the last 3 or 4 years. Can Pogba play with, you know, this and that Fernandes, and can you get the balance right? They've got the balance right now. Fred will come in, and McTominay, when he comes in, might come in for certain games. But at the moment, that midfield is the hub of the team, and it looks as good as any midfield, really. Maybe City, obviously, offensively, but that's the real reason why I see Ten Hag really looking at that midfield and playing it time and time again, if they're fit, the 3 of them.
Yeah, when Casemiro has started in the Premier League, he has only lost once since his move from Real Madrid, right? Some more Manchester United reaction now from the scorer of the first goal, Marcus Rashford.
Marcus, a goal, an assist, and a big 3 points. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's obviously a nice feeling. I think we could have probably scored a couple more goals, created a couple more clear-cut chances, but we can't complain. 3-0, good performance, and yeah, keeping the momentum going. So it's just about recovering now and moving to the next game.
How much are you enjoying your football right now? Because obviously disappointment in the end for England with the World Cup, but you score goals there and you're transferring that back into the Premier League. It's a great start to the season from you.
Yeah, it's football's very up and down, and you have to learn to try and control your emotions. Sometimes it's difficult. Obviously going out of the World Cup was a massive disappointment. But you have to take your time and just try and get your head right before you come back here, because we can't afford to be losing games and feeling sorry for ourselves. So I'm pleased with the response to everyone really for coming back in and integrating so quickly again.
The team seems to be in a really great moment, but you've already doubled your goal tally in all competitions compared to last season. Has there been anything that's changed in particular that you can put it down to?
No, not really. I think the main thing is that I'm just enjoying myself, and I'm focused and I'm happy, and yeah. So I'm hoping that I can carry on. I wanna have a really good season this year, and hopefully win a trophy for the club.
I don't know if it's a new chapter, but it's a new start with a new head coach. Players can rejuvenate themselves. You've now triggered your extension to stay with the club for another year at least. How confident, how good are you feeling about moving forward and getting back to winning things with Manchester United?
That's the main aim, and it's an ambition that we've obviously had for a while. When I first come into the team, we had a good start. We won 3 or 4 trophies in the first couple of years, and then since then it's been more difficult for us, and we're in a difficult patch. But the only way to come out of it is to keep working hard, and we have to keep listening to the manager and his staff. Try and play the type of football that he wants us to play, and win football games. And if we do that, if we keep improving, then we'll be in and around them opportunities to win trophies and playing in the biggest games.
And finally, just a word on your home form, because that's 6 straight wins at Old Trafford now. All sides know if you play well at home, it's a real significant advantage. The fans are playing their part, and it puts you in a really good position to challenge for things, doesn't it, doing so well at home?
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone enjoys playing it. It's probably one of the best stadiums in the world. And yeah, it's got brilliant fans, and when we're playing well, it's a great feeling, great atmosphere, and there's not much that you can really compare to it.
Yes, he says he feels focused and happy. I mean, just how important a fit, focused, happy Marcus Rashford could be to where Manchester United want to go.
But football's hard. You're not always going to be happy, especially when you've got ups and downs like Man United have had. But, happiness, you're not always going to be happy on a football pitch, but you've got to be confident. And I think the only thing Marcus looked like he lacked at times, his talent is undeniable. His talent is arguably world-class in terms of his ball striking, his running, his size, his technical ability. But I think his confidence had taken a hit. And that's understandable, because a lot of players have come to Man United and struggled, and the confidence taken a huge hit. So I think there was a lot of pressure on Marcus to try and lead the line from a young age, probably too much relied upon him. And the club, in a way, it wasn't really fair that he was in that position on his own. And Anthony Martial, very similarly, similar ages. But I think Marcus had to go through a lot for a young player. I think his numbers in terms of appearances, his fitness, his goals, I think is pretty exceptional. And I just hope he can keep that confidence, because when he plays with confidence and he plays quickly and makes quick decisions, I think he's a world-class talent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, footballers, we've been there. We know it. When you've got a lack of confidence, you don't know where your next goal's coming from. You don't know where your next pass is coming from. When your confidence is high, you just feel as if you want the ball all the time. You're like a magnet to the ball. And then you feel as if you know what you're going to do with it first. You know what if there's a chance on, you're going to score. He had one-on-one chances at the beginning of the season. I'm thinking, I don't think he believes he's going to score here. And he didn't. Now, if you put him on one-on-ones, he'll score now, because he's going through that confidence feeling. It's in his hands whether he keeps that. He's got a manager that's going to back him, by the way. He's been in a little phase here where we've had plenty of Manchester United managers that have stop-started with him. He's been in, he's been out, he's been from the bench. I think Ten Hag's gone, you're my man. And I think that's why he's got the confidence. He didn't say it there on screen, but I think the answer really from him would have been, the manager really rates me and he's behind me. and that's making me feel, you know, confident and a better player, because he has got the talent. There's no doubt about it. I'm hoping in 10 games' time, we're still sitting here and he's now on whatever, 18 goals, and he's kept his consistency. Just don't go through a cold period again, Marcus. That's what I'll be saying. And I think he's got the manager and the staff maybe behind him that's saying, you're such a good player. There's other clubs out there that are talking about him. He knows that as well, so that'll give him a bit of confidence. But if he keeps playing like he is, he could be the one that could get 20 goals this season.
You didn't have your favourites as a manager, Glenn, did you?
Oh, no, of course not. Maybe Rude Hillett was one.
And Michael Owen for England.
And
But
Michael
anyway.
Owen.
And if he can stay fit and they can add somebody in January, is that the difference perhaps between Champions League and Europa League for Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, you think about the next fixtures. They got Wolves, then they got Bournemouth, then I think they got Everton in the FA Cup, then they got Charlton in the League Cup. So you think they're all,
But then the City and Arsenal.
and then obviously, and then Barcelona in the Europa League. So it's going to be a fascinating season for United, because top four is obviously the goal. I think if they get top four, that's a good season. But I think they can win one of those trophies, the FA Cup or the League Cup. But with Marcus, you just don't want to stunt him right now. If you go and get somebody and bring him in, does it take away from the fact that it maybe takes away from Marcus playing or Anthony Martial playing? So it's a delicate balance to strike. But I think right now you've got to put all your eggs in Marcus's basket and say he's going to take us where we need to go. You know, with Eriksen and with Bruno and with Casemiro. I like the fact that Marcus, he's got his wide shoulders, he looks confident. And I think a confident Marcus Rashford is almost unplayable.
So that was Manchester United winning by